I've lived alone in this old house for almost a year. The ceilings creak, the floors groan, and the walls seem to breathe with the night wind. I've always told myself it's just an old house settling, until the night the noise started. The first sound came at 1:13 a.m., a soft tap, 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 right above my bed. I was half asleep, thinking maybe it was a branch scraping the roof, but the rhythm was too slow, too deliberate, like knuckles on wood. I sat up in the darkness, holding my breath. The tapping stopped. A few seconds later, I heard a faint dragging sound, like fingernails trailing across the wooden beams. The air in the room felt colder. I reached for the lamp but paused. I didn't want to move. It felt like the sound was listening for me too. For the next 3 nights, the noise came back at the exact same time. 1:13 a.m. Tap, drag, whisper, yes, whisper. By the 4th night, it wasn't just tapping anymore. It was a soft, wet whisper, like someone pressing their mouth against the ceiling and breathing words through the cracks. I couldn't make out the words, but it had the sound of a voice too close. I moved my bed away from the center of the room, closer to the wall. That didn't help. The sound followed, as if whatever was up there knew exactly where I was. The 5th night, I decided to record it. I set up my phone to capture the sound while I pretended to sleep. When the clock struck 1:13 a.m., it came again. Tap, drag, whisper. My heart thudded so hard, I could hear it over everything. I forced myself to look up at the ceiling. The whisper stopped. And then, as if something sensed my gaze, the ceiling creaked. Slowly, like a body shifting its weight. A single black droplet fell from the ceiling onto my blanket. It was warm. I grabbed my phone and switched on the flashlight. There it was, a dark stain spreading across the ceiling. And from the corner, something moved. I didn't sleep that night. In the morning, I went up into the attic. The air smelled like something had died. It was thick and wet. Dust hung in the air like fog. There were long scratch marks in the wooden beams, 5 lines, deep and uneven. In the farthest corner of the attic, I found a small square hole cut into the insulation. It was just big enough for something, or someone, to crawl through. I told myself it was probably raccoons, or rats, or maybe even a cat, but none of those creatures leave handprints. That night, I decided to stay awake. No lights, no sound, just me and the thing above me. 1:12 a.m. Silence. 1:13 a.m. Tap, drag, whisper. The voice was clearer this time. It whispered my name. Not hey or hello. It whispered my full name. I froze. The tapping got louder, moving fast across the ceiling, circling the room like a predator. I covered my ears, but the whisper pushed through. Then, silence. I thought it was over, until I heard breathing. Heavy, raspy breathing right above my bed. I grabbed the flashlight and aimed it upward. That was the moment everything stopped being explainable. The plaster above me bulged downward like something pressed its face against the ceiling. A faint outline, 2 empty eye sockets and a gaping mouth, stretched the surface. And then the mouth opened. A wet, broken voice whispered, "I found you." I screamed and bolted out of my room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't go back in until sunrise, but it didn't stop. The next night, it knocked from inside the attic door. The following night, I heard it crawling, not above me, inside the walls. My lights would flicker whenever it whispered. Desperate, I called a pest control company. They went up there during the day. I stood below, shaking, listening to their boots crunch across the attic floor. "Nothing up here," the man called down. "Just old insulation and, well, some weird scratches." Weird scratches. He didn't see the hole. He didn't hear it whisper, but I did. That night, it came closer. On the 12th night, it finally made its move. I was lying in bed, clutching a kitchen knife I knew wouldn't help me. The room felt colder than usual. Even before 1:13 a.m., I could feel it was awake. Then the tapping started earlier. 1:08 a.m. The whisper was louder, faster, hungry. The ceiling creaked and cracked like bones snapping under pressure. Plaster dust fell on my face. I aimed the flashlight and screamed. Two pale hands burst through the ceiling. Long skeletal fingers reached down, grasping the air like they were searching for me. The ceiling groaned as something began pulling itself through. I saw its head, hair hanging like wet strings, mouth wide and wrong. It didn't crawl like a human. It unfolded itself, like a spider sliding through a web. I ran. I didn't look back. As I stumbled into the hallway, a whisper brushed against my ear. "Come back down here." That was 3 months ago. I moved into a small apartment downtown, but every night at 1:13 a.m., I still wake up. Sometimes I think I hear faint tapping, coming from the vent above my bed. I've taped the vent shut. I've blocked it with furniture. But last night, when the lights flickered, I swear I heard it again. Tap, drag, whisper. It knows where I am.